What's going on, guys? Today, coming to you with a very different video. We're going to be going through one of my upper body workouts for strength and specifically for strongman. You can do this workout if you're not a strongman. It can work for anybody. It'll get you really, really strong. So always start out with a warm-up, start to get that mobility going. Specifically for me, I spend a lot of time at the desk upstairs. My shoulders have a tendency of rounding over, and I need to open up my thoracic spine so I can press overhead, which is going to be the main movement for today. Very simple. I'm just going to be focusing in on getting a little bit of mobility into that upper back, keeping that rib cage down. And essentially, if you find yourself sitting a lot or find yourself in a position all day and you're going to train, you want to make sure that you start kind of putting yourself in new positions in the shapes of what you're going to find yourself in your training session. That's how you can avoid some injuries, avoid some aches and pains that you may have. So again, really trying to work my way into that overhead position, and I'll work on this thoracic extension. I'll start rolling out the lats a little bit because the lats have a tendency of getting tight. And then what I'll end up doing is I'll break into some rotations. Again, working on my ability to get into a better overhead position so I can produce the most force, produce the most strength, and get the best results. All right, guys, so the first primary movement of this workout, we're gonna be doing a log push press out of the rack. If you don't have a log, or you don't necessarily have a Swiss bar or a football bar that you can get at elitefts.com, you can use an axle, you can use a barbell, but the key is what we're gonna be focusing in on is a push press. So we're not utilizing just the upper body, we're getting a little bit of drive from the legs and using that momentum to drive that bar overhead. When you're doing strongman in competitions or contests, there's a lot of overhead pressing, and being really competent in different forms of overhead pressing is really, really important. Push presses are a great way to build up your strength and your athleticism as well. When you're warming up for a push press, I always take it nice and slow. I do more sets to really get the blood flowing, to get the technique down. Because as you know, if you compete in strongman, there's a lot of technique involved with a lot of these lifts. Making sure that your technique is locked in from set to set will help you get more volume overall, but will help you to lock in your ability to press more efficiently and effectively as the weights start to get heavier. So let's jump right into this. You really want to focus in on making sure each rep is crisp and snappy, right? When you want to utilize your lower body, making sure that you're in that strong front rack position, elbows nice and high, core engaged, getting a slight dip with your knees, dip the hips down and back, driving that force straight up overhead. We're going to be staying here for a few sets of 5. Working up to something kind of heavy. Let's keep rolling. So we worked up to a heavy set, or we're working up to a heavy set. This is the last one. If you're following along at home, you want to make sure your last set floating around like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. I don't want you to fail on these, but they do need to be tough. All right, so let's get after it. Oh, see that? There we go. We don't fail on videos. Oh. Do as I say, not as I do. All right, guys, we got done with our overhead press for our primary movement. Now we're going to be jumping into a circuit for our secondary movements. Incline dumbbell press paired with a chest supported row. These are great exercises for everybody, but specifically for strongman that want to get a better overhead press or log press. The upper back, super important, maintaining that proper stability and that shelf for that log to kind of sit on. Again, upper chest, front delts, also very, very important for pressing. So again, your secondary movements should help support your primary movement for your training day. So no more talking, let's jump right into it. So in terms of sets and reps for this, for me personally and who I like to kind of work with, that secondary movement, you still want to keep it in that 6 to 10 rep range, maybe even a little bit lower. For today, we're shooting for sets of 6 to 8, working up in weight, 3 to 4 sets, nothing crazy. Now for these rows, what we're going to be doing, luckily enough for us, we have one of these new chest supported benches from elitefts here. And what we're going to be focusing in on is allowing your shoulder blades to come forward. We want that thoracic spine to flex forward, keeping that core engaged, keeping that lumbar spine safe. And what we're going to be doing is we're challenging our upper back in positions that we don't normally find ourselves in. Again, when we're talking about overhead presses, log presses, anything like that, you want to make sure that your upper back is nice and strong. In this variation, specifically is fantastic for building that upper back strength. So this is going to be the last set for me. We worked up in weight. We're going to just hit as many reps as we can, finishing probably in that 8 to 10 rep range. All right, here we go. So again, when you set up, making sure that your upper rib cage can flex forward and row back. So here we go. All right, guys, we did our primary work, we did our secondary work, and now we're going to be working on our accessories. For your accessories, you essentially want to pick weak points or spots specific that will help you with your secondary press or your secondary lift and your primary lift. For me, I'm picking triceps, rear delts, side delts, and we're going to be doing some core work as well. Core work is going to look a little bit different than you're used to because we're training for strongman. So we're going to be using a sandbag, which will be really cool. More on that later, but let's get right into these rolling tricep extensions. All right, guys, first we did our triceps. Now we're jumping into our lateral raises. You can do these with dumbbells. I really like using a cable stack machine just like this. When setting it up, make sure you have tension. We're looking for the lateral delts here. Make sure you have tension pulling that arm across. Lock yourself into that cable stack machine. Brace that core, raise to the side. You don't have to go all the way up, right? We're only looking to go around shoulder height. Control it back, feel that tension, pulling that side delt, hit another rep. Looking for about 8 to 12 reps here, then you're gonna switch sides. All right, guys, good old-fashioned reverse flies using the pec deck here. A lot of people don't train their rear delts heavy enough. I learned this from my buddy Juji Mufu, link up below. Check out his video that he did when he was here. He's a proponent for really, really heavy rear delts. I'm not saying max effort rear delts here, but I am saying sets of 5 to 8 on rear delts, and then you finish up with a burner set. You'll be in good shape. So here we go. So, sandbag carries. What we're gonna be doing, we're gonna be focusing in on carrying it out wide. So normally I'll carry it straight up and down, but I want a little bit more of my upper back. I want a little bit more force pulling me forward, grabbing it out nice and wide. We're doing this for a few reasons. One, get that upper back still going, right? This is more of a conditioning drill, and we need to be able to isometrically contract that upper back to make sure that we can stabilize, especially when we're tired. Two, ab exercise. Front loading weights, loaded carries are a fantastic way to train your core and to train your ability to stabilize within your core 360 degrees. Third, and something I need to work on a little bit more, conditioning. I always like to end my strongman specific training with some form of conditioning. So what we'll do, sandbag carries, farmer's carries, you can do yoke, you can do all sorts of fun things. If you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more about strongman, loaded carries, check out the video in the card up above. Like this video, subscribe, share it with your friends, families, enemies, whoever you want, and we will see you in the next one.